percent of your basic pay is cut for the purpose of pension computation, gratuity calculation. How badly we are being hit. So we are fighting for getting this issue resolved that special allowance to reckon for pension computation and gratuity. In gratuity, you get a hit of 27%. Imagine your gratuity is 20 lakhs, for example. 27% hit. It comes down to less than 15. It comes down to 14 lakhs, 14 and a half lakhs. So there are issues like this. Medical, our medical policy. It's a complete fraud perpetrated by IBA on all bank pensioners and retirees. In 2002, while dealing with distribution of staff welfare fund, DFS has written a letter on 24 February 2012 that please evolve a medical insurance policy both for serving and retired employees. And they say somewhere in that letter that staff welfare fund amounts should not be used for distribution as cash. Please don't credit the account as a cash just like that we give. Oh, it is from staff welfare fund, this is your share. No. You should use it for introducing the medical insurance scheme. When they introduced medical insurance scheme in 2015-16, for employees, serving employees and officers, the cost is borne to the P&L of banks. And when it comes to retired employees and pensioners, they didn't talk about it. They left it open. And the UAB leader said, at bank level you have to discuss. And they will bear the cost. In one bank, like Bank of India, the entire cost first time was borne by bank. Then they started subsidizing. They didn't bear the full cost. In most of the banks that time, banks were doing well, all were earning profit. Some kind of subsidization took place. 50%, 40%, 25%, depending on the bank's position or the negotiating skills of the serving organization leaders at that time, or the pensioners leaders at that time. But slowly, the banking industry ran into rough weather with the introduction of concept of PCA from RBI. Many banks came under the cloud of PCA. They were incurring losses because provisioning norms were made more stringent. The haircut for the cases which are coming under insolvency and bankruptcy code to NCLT went on increasing. So banks were finding it difficult to even post profit barring some banks. Even one quarter, State Bank, such a huge organization, was also in loss for one quarter. Though they had annual profit, but one quarter they posted loss. So banking industry was subjected to that kind of adverse regulatory mechanism by RBI. So there was a question of asking banks to bear the premium of medical insurance. They didn't have money. And when there is no money, no profit or significant profit earned, the staff welfare fund depends on declared net profit. 3% of that will be this much. You take it. So many banks, there was no contribution to staff welfare fund. So even the existing benefits were withdrawn because funds dried up completely. Now the banks are posting huge profit. And in 2022, State Bank became the number one profit-making corporate in the entire country. Their profit was more than Reliance. So highest profit-making company was from banking sector. All banks have come out of PCA. All banks are posting reasonably huge profit. So this is high time. We must get this medical issue resolved. We must get pension updation issue resolved. So if we can succeed in that, then we will have other issues. Pension upgradation. In government, if a person attains the age of 80, his pension is made 60% of last month's pay. With updation benefit. After updation, another 10% is loaded. Every 5 years they keep loading 5%. So if a person is surviving up to 100 years, he gets full pay as tax. So our scheme is framed on the pattern of government and RBI. So we also should aim at that in course of time. So once we resolve these issues, medical, special allowance and pension updation, we are in for that. Second issue which has to come up again is the restoration of commutation factor. I was feeling very happy when people who have just completed 75 came here to bless us that if they are not getting updation immediately, at least commutation restoration will take care of their medical needs. So for them, it is at least blessing, and those blessings get passed on to us to work more and more for getting more and more benefits of the pensioners. So restoration of commutation, they pay us commutation equal to one third of basic pension multiplied by 10 years on monthly basis. So 120 months, one third pension they give us in advance, and then they keep recovering it for 15 years. That means they paid us 10 years one third pension and recovered 15 years one third pension. So this one third pension and restoration after 15 years was introduced when interest rates for staff for pensioners were senior citizen rate and 1% staff rate, and interest rate used to come to 12-13%. So when interest rate we were running on commutation component 12-13%, assume that in 15 years they can recover with interest. Now the interest rate came down to 6%. Sometimes they have now increased it. Otherwise it came to 5.75. Some banks will do even a staff 1% extra. There are examples. The banks will do that. So the banks were paying 6.5% to the pensioners on that commutation amount. How much can we afford to keep paying for 15 years to earn 6% interest on commutation amount? So they were overcharging us. They still continue to overcharge us. So next issue which is very important for us is to fight for restoration of commutation component of the pension before 15 years. Should be 11-12 years. We don't earn that much on commutation now as we were running those days with 12-13% interest. So friends, the life cycle of any organization will see ups and downs, but our strength lies in ensuring that we withstand those downs and start marching towards ups. So cycle has to go on. The lower cycle should not discourage us. It should not dishearten us. In a small young age, when I was in 7th standard or 10th standard, a friend who was my classmate, his grandfather used to tell us, ए बुलबुलो क्यों शोरोगुल मचा रही हो, आज तो रंजो गम की रात है, वही दिन आ जाएंगे, बस 2-4 दिन की बात है. So friends, I strongly believe that today रंजो गम की रात हो सकती है, but this should not dishearten us. The days will come back which will take us to the upper part of the life cycle. So वही दिन आ जाएंगे, बस 2-4 दिन की बात है. So have faith in your strength, have faith in your leadership, support them, trust them, believe them, and don't go by what rumors are floated by leaders of ULBU कि पैसे आम के पेड़ पर नहीं उगते हैं. I pity their wisdom when they say they wrote a circular. They talked in speech which was a video recorded and circulated in social media. आपने भी बहुत लोगों ने सुना होगा. ULBU leader telling कि पैसे आम के पेड़ पर नहीं लटकते कि वहां से तोड़ के ऑपरेशन करा दें. What is economic wisdom or foolishness in this statement? आम के पेड़ पर पैसे उगते हैं, आम को बेच के हम पैसे नहीं कमाते. नहीं. See, mango crop is an economic agricultural activity, and you are challenging the basic concept. आम के पेड़ पर पैसे नहीं उगते. Is it to be believed? We don't believe it. आम के पेड़ पर पैसे उगते हैं, आम को बेच के आम की खेती करने वाला आदमी पैसे कमाता है. So have that faith कि पेड़ पर भी पैसे उगते हैं, and money for updation will come from different sources, including आम का पेड़. When we finance for agriculture, we finance the mango groves too. We finance the fruit sellers also. And when we finance, the banks earn income from them. And that income has to be used for pension updation. That should be our narrow belief. The broader belief is that pension regulations nowhere say that benefits under pension scheme as per pension regulation are subject to availability of funds. And that availability has to be decided by IBA. No. The benefits which are provided under pension regulations, amended from time to time, have to come to us without any constraint of funds on the part of bank. It is statutory obligation on their part to implement everything, including pension updation 35(1), because our pension regulations are subordinate legislation. Subordinate legislation. The process for framing pension regulations is legal process. Houses of Parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. So it's subordinate legislation. When RBI gives the provisioning guidelines for bad loans or for whatever purpose, that is called regulatory provision. Our provision for pension fund is statutory provision. When banks make blind provision, once RBI says they make provision, post loss in the balance sheet. The subordinate legislation provision, which is statutory in nature, has to take precedence before RBI's regulatory provisions. So before you post loss in the bank's balance sheet on account of RBI provisioning for NPA, you have to first make provision for our pension updation, our pensionary benefits. So a statutory thing has to be having priority over the regulatory things. So we have been talking on these lines with government and RBI. We have filed affidavit in Supreme Court on these lines, and God willing we will succeed with your blessings. All the elders who have come here to bless us all, sir, with your blessings we will succeed. It's only a matter of time. With these few words, I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for having invited me to give me the opportunity to stand before you and to share some of my thoughts. If you have any questions, I have not covered everything because time could be a constraint. Though they are very decent people, they have not sent a slip. Otherwise, I get a lot of slips when I speak. So, thank you very much for showing this courtesy. But you have any clarification to be sought from me, I am here available for that purpose. Once again, thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much for sparing your Sunday to have come here to give us an opportunity to share some of our thoughts. Thank you very much.